Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something a little different today. Numerology.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, we're going to specifically be looking at the personality and traits that are supposedly all connected to the number 2.
Right.
We'll be unpacking a source called Cosmic Portal to do this.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, and I know numerology might seem a little out there to some people, maybe even a bit mystical or whatever.
Right.
But we like to keep an open mind here.
Yeah.
Right? So stick with us as we try to figure out what it really means to be a number 2 according to Cosmic Portal. Great. But before we get into the specifics of what it means to be number 2, can you give us a quick overview of like the basics of numerology, for our listeners who may be totally new to this?
Of course. In a nutshell, numerology is the idea that numbers have a vibrational energy and symbolic meanings that can give us a peek into our personalities and our life paths. It's been around for centuries and in all sorts of cultures. Cosmic Portal really focuses on the idea of these driver numbers, which they calculate based on your birth date.
Okay, so Cosmic Portal says that if you were born on the 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th of any month, you fall under the influence of number 2.
Right.
And that makes 2 your driver number, I guess.
Yeah.
So what does that actually mean?
Well, the book says that number 2 is ruled by the moon. They actually call it the Queen's number.
Okay. Ruled by the moon, the Queen's number. Those sound pretty intense.
Right.
What do those terms tell us about, what a number 2 is like?
That's a good question. You see, it's not about like literal moons or royalty or anything like that.
Yeah.
The moon in numerology, symbolizes emotions, intuition, and being able to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, the moon changes shape, it ebbs and flows.
Right.
So similarly, people who are number 2s are thought to have a pretty wide range of emotions, be super intuitive, and they also tend to be really adaptable, to their surroundings and stuff.
So they're like kind of emotional chameleons, always adapting to the vibe.
Yeah, and that sensitivity makes them really good at understanding how other people are feeling.
Okay.
Like a queen,
Right.
They have this gentle but powerful presence, and they often use intuition and diplomacy to, navigate all their different relationships.
Interesting. Cosmic Portal also goes into some really specific traits of being a number 2.
Okay.
Some of them seem kind of contradictory.
Like what?
Well, for example, it says that number 2s can be both super sensitive and prone to like overthinking things all the time.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, you've got a good point there. And that's where, the personality type gets complicated. Imagine being so in tune with everyone else's emotions that, even like a little joke could really affect you.
Oh, wow.
That's the sensitive side. Now, add to that, a tendency to really overthink every single decision and interaction.
Oh, no.
That's a recipe for, huge empathy, but also probably some struggles for the person.
So it's like they're getting all these intuitive signals.
Yeah.
But then their mind kicks in and overthinks it all, creating a traffic jam.
Exactly.
And they just get stuck second guessing themselves, even when their gut is telling them very clearly what to do.
Yeah, and there's actually this example in Cosmic Portal. They talk about a number 2 agonizing over something as simple as picking between like going to see a movie or going shopping.
Oh my gosh.
They can get stuck in this loop of what if this and maybe that because they're so concerned with making the quote unquote right choice.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. But I can definitely see how that could be like so much worse if you're naturally sensitive and prone to overthinking.
Totally. And it's something Cosmic Portal talks about directly when they talk about the potential downsides,
Yeah.
Overthinking can lead to not being able to make up your mind, having a hard time standing up for yourself, and even being prone to sadness and feeling overwhelmed by, all the emotions.
So number 2s have all these amazing strengths. Empathy, intuition, diplomacy. But they've also got all these things they need to watch out for.
Yes.
It's like a double-edged sword.
It is. And the book really doesn't shy away from that. It says that while number 2 individuals have, powerful gifts, they really have to develop self-awareness and strategies to kind of manage their emotional energy.
Which brings us to the remedy section of the book.
Yes.
So if you think you're a number 2 and you want to like work with all this stuff, what does Cosmic Portal suggest?
Well, some of it's kind of unexpected.
Okay.
The first one is just to drink more water.
Really? Yeah, just water.
It might sound basic, but the book explains that, the moon rules number 2 and the moon is associated with water.
Right.
So staying hydrated can help you balance your emotions and think clearly. They even suggest drinking from a silver glass. Because silver is thought to enhance the moon's energy.
Okay, so we've got moonlit vibes, silver goblets, lots of water.
Yeah.
I'm getting the picture here. It's not just about drinking water.
Right.
It's about all that symbolism behind it too.
Yeah, exactly. But perhaps the most important remedy that the book talks about is trusting your intuition.
So tapping into that inner GPS and actually following the directions this time.
Yes.
No more getting lost in the overthinking detours.
Number 2s already have this amazing intuition, but they often doubt it and, they want someone else to confirm it for them. Learning to just trust those gut feelings is so important for them to get past being indecisive and to move through life with more confidence.
So it's not about ignoring your emotions or trying to be someone else.
Right.
It's about understanding your tendencies and working with them.
Yes, exactly. And that's where the other remedies come in. The book suggests wearing a silver bracelet to help with emotional stability. They say to wear a lot of white, red, and green and to avoid black.
Really?
These are all seen as ways to align yourself with, energies that are good for your number.
So it's not literally the color that matters.
Yeah, right.
It's the energy the color represents.
Exactly. Cosmic Portal also talks about lucky and unlucky numbers for number 2 people.
Ooh. Tell me which numbers I should be looking out for and which ones I should avoid like the plague.
Well, according to this book, the numbers 1 and 5 are considered lucky for number 2s, bringing balance and success.
Okay.
But 4, 8, and 9, those are seen as potential obstacles.
Got it.
They even say you should check your phone number, your house number, even your car's license plate to see if they line up with your lucky numbers.
I'm definitely checking all my numbers after this. This is so interesting. We've learned so much about number 2. Their moon-ruled emotional side, their intuition, the things that might be hard for them, and even some really interesting remedies.
Right.
What, stands out to you as the most important thing so far?
I think the biggest thing is that even something as, seemingly simple as a single number can be really complicated. It's not about being boxed in by these traits, but about using them as a place to start to learn more about yourself.
It's not like I'm a number 2, so this is how I am and that's it.
Exactly.
It's more about using what you know to understand yourself better and live your life, with more awareness.
Absolutely. And it really makes you wonder if a single number can give us so much insight, what other hidden connections might we be missing out there?
That's a great question to think about. We'll have to ponder that one. But first, why don't we take a quick break? When we come back, we'll talk more about those broader implications and what it all means for you, our listener.
It really is amazing to think that numbers could have some deeper meaning, isn't it? Kind of opens up a whole new way to look at everything.
Yeah, it totally does. But before we get too lost in all that, let's recap what we've learned about number 2 for our listeners.
Good idea. So for those who are just joining us, number 2 is all about that lunar energy. We're talking deep emotions and strong intuition and this natural ability for diplomacy, and they're able to adapt to different situations and different people.
Right. They're the peacemakers.
Yeah.
The ones who can smooth things over when there's conflict and bring everyone together.
Mm-hmm.
But as we talked about, being so sensitive can also lead to overthinking and indecisiveness.
Exactly. Cosmic Portal really stresses how that duality, being both things, is super important to understanding people who are number 2s.
Right.
They might have a hard time believing in themselves, or they get caught up in all those what ifs.
Yeah.
Even when their intuition is yelling at them to go in a certain direction.
And that's where remedies come in.
Right.
Drinking lots of water, wearing silver, surrounding yourself with the right colors. Yeah. It's all about aligning your energy with vibrations that'll support you, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm still a little skeptical about some of that stuff. Does the color I'm wearing really affect, how I'm feeling emotionally?
It's definitely an interesting idea. And the book, it goes into the symbolism behind each remedy. Wearing silver is supposed to make the moon's energy stronger. And the moon is what governs number 2, supposedly.
Right.
Who knows if it really works or if it's just a way to change how you think about things.
That's a good point. Maybe it's kind of both.
Right.
If you believe that wearing a certain color will make you feel more balanced, then, well, maybe it will, just because you're focusing on it and putting your energy toward that, right?
Totally. And that, brings us right back to that most important remedy, trusting your intuition. If number 2 people can learn to like quiet down all that mental chatter and listen to their, inner voice,
yeah,
they can get over all that indecision and self-doubt.
Even if you're not a number 2, that idea of trusting your gut is just like good advice for anyone. We've all got that inner voice, but it's so easy to, not hear it over all the noise of everything else going on.
I totally agree. This deep dive has made me think about the people in my own life, Even if I don't know their birthday, I can kind of start to see those number 2 traits in them and understand them better.
It's like learning a new language.
Right.
All of a sudden you can pick up on these little clues in how people are acting.
Yeah.
It could really help with like all kinds of relationships.
I think that's a great thing to take away from this whole exploration. Yeah. Whether or not you believe in all the numerology stuff, it at least gives you a way to think about different personality types.
Totally. And it makes you wonder what other like hidden connections we might be missing out on in our own lives. If numbers can have such a big impact, what else is out there influencing us without us even knowing it?
That is a great question. And Cosmic Portal kind of touches on that too. It says that there's this whole like web of connections just waiting for us to find it.
Ooh, spooky. So any last thoughts for our listeners today? What's like the one thing you hope they take away from this whole deep dive?
If all this has got you curious, I'd say do your own research.
Yeah.
Look into different kinds of numerology systems and see what speaks to you. You could even try to figure out your own driver number.
I love that. Even if you're like a total skeptic, it's still a fun way to learn more about yourself. Who knows, you might be surprised by what you find out. And like we always say, a little curiosity never hurt anyone.
That's true.
It's pretty wild to think about, all these connections and layers of meaning that might be like hidden all around us. We just got to be open to actually seeing them.
Right. And that's what I think is so cool about numerology. Like it encourages us to look beyond just the surface, to think about the symbolism and energy that's behind the numbers. It's almost like the secret code just waiting to be cracked.
And who knows, maybe understanding that code will actually help us understand ourselves and the world better.
Maybe. I mean, think about it. We use numbers to measure and understand the universe.
Right.
Like from the tiniest atom to, all of space. So it's not that crazy to think that maybe they've got deeper meanings too.
It's like they say, everything is connected. Right.
Exactly.
Maybe numerology is just like one way to tap into that.
That's a nice way to think about it.
It reminds us that, there's always more to learn and more to explore, even with something as simple as numbers.
Definitely.
So for everyone listening, whether you're number 2 or number 7 or whatever, what's the biggest takeaway you'd want them to have from this whole thing?
I'd say just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Don't just dismiss something because it seems a little weird or different,
Right.
Explore, ask questions, and just see what you connect with. You might be surprised at what you find out.
I love that. And never forget about your own intuition. Whether you believe in this stuff or not, that inner voice is always there to guide you. Listen to it.
Well said. And remember, there's always something new out there to learn. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. We'll see you all next time for another awesome exploration. Until then, stay curious.